Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening to all you ladies and gentlemen out there that listen to us. We are back with, I guess you can call a season two of the 16 ounce podcast. Um, you will see that we have a change in face. And basically, Duvet has stepped away from the episode for anybody that follows on social media. And so I brought in some new co-hosts, my brother Cody, and there's one other person that should be joining us. I don't know if she'll be here today or maybe on the next episode, but we are still sponsored by the GHU game station. With the weather getting hot, I know at least in New York, it's getting a little toasty out, humid. That's the perfect thing if you want kids outdoors. They'll open it up. It's got air conditioning. They were out in front of GameStop today for a game release. So make sure you check them out on Facebook at capital G period, capital H period, capital U game station. And with a new face on board, this is Cody.
How's it going? Pumped to be here.
Good. How are
Cody.
you, man?
Good. I'm Cody, Jay's brother, as you said. I'm out here in Kansas, so I got to be over Zoom. But it works. Pumped to be here. Pumped to get this going. Excited for it.
Yeah, we got some big stuff going on, I think this is the perfect time to come back. Major cards coming up over the next couple months.
Stacked cards.
The Ultimate Fighter starting up as of this week. UFC Fight Night this week. There's a good amount of stuff that's going to be coming up. So I think, a little time that we had off from the podcast coming into it now, it's couldn't be a better time. That's for sure.
I agree.
So, what do you want to start with, man? What do you want to do? What are you most excited about? Fight Night or the Ultimate Fighter?
Honestly, I'm excited.
I mean, they're
for this
both
Ultimate
exciting.
Fighter matchup. This Ultimate Fighter season looks good. Yeah. I like its prospects versus vets. You got Connor, you got Chandler. I think
you got some good personalities going at it.
Yeah, for sure.
So with Top 31 just starting on Tuesday, I mean, we only really got one episode to talk about, which is nice. We don't have to play catch up with that.
Crazy episode for a first one, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it was. I think it was okay. I don't know if it's the best episode one we've had. I don't know if it's top 5. I don't know if it's top 10. But Connor got his little chirps in. He, right at the beginning of the episode. They really didn't say much. I heard that. Yeah. Chandler was kind of doing the majority of the talking I see. Not like even just talking shit, but just talking in general. I noticed that they always had the camera on him. But with that being said, what are your full thoughts on episode 1? Like, give us a rundown of what you thought about it, except for the fight. Like, just as a whole episode, what's your takeaway?
I'm trying to even think where to start, really. I mean, at the beginning, Connor came in real cocky, typical Connor fashion, which we like. That's always good. Chandler seems cool, calm, collected. Seems like he's excited for this fight. I think it's a good matchup. I think it's definitely a good fight for Connor to come back, especially after that injury on that last fight with Poirier.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree. I think the one thing that caught my attention, and it's had me in brain dead mode, is this fight really going to happen at 185? And the whole episode, I'm just looking at the both of them, and I'm like, the whole time, like, it's been going on, I'm like, Chandler looks like he's at 185 now. McGregor definitely looks like he's at 185 now.
McGregor's definitely heavier for sure.
And, I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, they look big. And
They both look huge right now.
that kind of sat on my mind for a little bit. I'm like 185. I'm like, is that him being serious, or is that him just like trying to get Chandler, like playing a mind game with Chandler to get Chandler to stay kind of big, and then the fight goes to like 155, and it's like, oh shit.
But do you think Conor can manage that weight cut? I mean, he looks like he's just so big now. Like, I mean, to drop down to 155 as big as he is, I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think they said in the episode that the Ultimate Fighter's 12 weeks long. So you're looking at 4 months. Fucking McGregor went in what? He went into the USADA pool a month ago, I think.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken. But he I don't know. I don't know if he's playing mind games. I don't know if he's actually ready to fight at 185.
I kind of got the vibe of him just trying to, like, since he's been away for a couple of years and stuff, you know, like he's coming back and kind of trying to, I'm still the man. You know, he even made that comment, like, you're just going to do what you're told. I'm the man. So the fight's going to be at whatever he wants.
I think that kind of. I think that kind of
Chandler.
Thing, I think that got Chandler a little riled
up.
Still
relevant, for sure. You could definitely tell that definitely kind of rubbed him a little bit, which I could understand because, you know, they've been at Chandler, to be exact. You know, he's been active this whole time, no break. You know, fighting, and then this guy just come back after 2 years, but because of who he is, you know, he comes back, he's still calling shots. I can kind of see why that would rub a fighter the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, that's why it's like when I say it wasn't that good of an episode, like I feel like the first, you know, couple minutes, like the first 5 minutes of it were like the best, right? Because as soon as they came in, you know, they had some remarks. They just came in with like, yo, what's up? What's going on? Like, you good, blah, blah, blah. And then they got into their shit talking, which is, you know, per usual.
Right.
Well, for me, it's like, I don't know. Then it kind of just felt like, I felt like you could have skipped a whole lot of it up to like where they start their first training. Like, I feel like you could have skipped that whole middle part. Like, I feel like that stuff was just irrelevant.
Yeah, it almost felt like just to fill in. They're like, as if they didn't get a whole lot of good footage. So it was just kind of like, this is what we got for episode 1. Here you go.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously not every episode 1 is going to be sparks flying and this and that and the third, but I like that. What I do like is that Conor went and took all the prospects.
I did like that. I did like that a lot.
However, I do wish he could have I wish both teams would have got vets mixed in just to help the prospects a little bit. But however, I know that these guys aren't there to help other fighters either. They're there to win.
Right.
But they're in different weight classes. So not like they were going to fight each other anyways.
Right. Honestly, I kind of like the separation of prospects versus vets because from what I've seen,
I do.
Most of these guys, they're not really even new. They're just not UFC fighters. As to the vets were UFC fighters.
They're prospects to the UFC. They all professional fights under their belts. But, you know, like all Michael Chandler's team all have had fights in the UFC.
Which does help with, you know, like the first fight, not to get too much into that right now, but, you know, that guy, he had, you know, he had fought in the Apex before, as to the prospect has not. So he's not used to fighting in silence, where you could hear everything going on.
I mean,
that could play a role.
The Apex is a little bit smaller too, so you know that does play a favor into it. Not a lot of people know how to fight in the Apex because of how small it is. You can keep that pressure on without gassing up so much.
Right.
You know, hold on one second. They know how to keep the pressure on. You don't have to exert so much energy in the apex compared to like the regular octagon when they're somewhere else.
Right,
because
right.
I think it's like, I don't know the exact dimensions, but I think it's like 10 feet smaller all around or something
Yeah,
that, 7 feet.
that makes a huge
It's like
difference.
something crazy. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Right.
7 feet is crazy. And it's just kind of like, you know, guys keep up that pace a little bit longer because they don't have to run as far around the ring. They don't have to push guys as far back because of that difference.
Right.
But for me, my thoughts on episode 1, I would say, like I said, it was a good episode, but it wasn't great. I would even put it in the okay category. I think that with them, you know, getting their little shit talking in, and then, like I said, that little filler part was kind of just like, whatever, this is just not necessary, but I still watched it anyways. And then the one thing that, like, I was sitting there thinking too is, like, McGregor didn't show up for his team, which I thought was kind of weird.
I didn't like that.
And it's a little standoffish, I guess, for as far as like his team. I'm sure they know he's got shit going on, he's got to do things and whatever, but I don't know. I feel like he should be there for them every moment. Again, it's just weigh-ins, but
Right.
I feel like being there for your team alone is just a big majority of leadership.
Right.
But I don't know if something was going on like in the background that like Connor couldn't be there for whatever reason. Right. Obviously they don't give us those details, so I'm not going to hold it against him. Because the rest of his coaches were there too, right? It's not like the whole team just wasn't, like the whole coaching staff wasn't there.
Right. Just Connor wasn't there. Right. And
but he still got the coaches there. But yeah, and the thing too was like, a lot of people always say that I hate McGregor. It's not true. I just like everybody else better that he fights.
Yeah.
And but when it comes to this episode, like this season of Tough, man, it's just so hard because like I like both of these guys. I do. As much time sometimes I talk shit about Connor, it just leaves a salty taste in my mouth that he beat Cerrone in the fashion that he did because I'm a diehard Cerrone fan. But
right. Who honestly
when I put all that biasness to the side, I can sit here and say that, I mean, obviously Connor's one of the greats.
For sure.
From knockouts to holding 2 titles to just doing everything, talking shit, backing it up.
I mean,
most guys can't do that.
In my opinion, I don't think there's anybody that's brought light to the sport like Connor did.
Yeah.
And
however, what I was getting to was, what I was getting at was that I like both sides of the team. I like that Connor brought people that he's familiar with.
Right.
But I like what Chandler brought in. Like, bringing in Ryan Bader is
huge.
Fucking wicked. Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that Ryan Bader stepped up. Yeah, and got in a hell of a grappling coach. And then he's got his everyday trainer in there too. So it's like, what do you got?
Definitely got a good team assembled for sure. I did like it.
Yeah, I agree. I like both coaching sides. I just like Chandler's coaching staff a little bit better. I think he brought in 3 guys that can help these guys in every area that needs to be helped in.
For sure.
With Connor's side, he should have brought somebody in that's a little bit better on the grappling side of things. That's just my opinion. I mean, obviously, I don't know what goes on in his camps and stuff, but I feel like Chandler had 3 coaches. He only has, I think, 2.
Right, yeah.
And I think that he should have, I don't know, man. as much as I know he wouldn't have done this, I wish he would have gave Habib a call and be like, "Hey, bro, listen." Because could you imagine Conor and Habib and Conor's coaches just in there teaching these guys wrestling, and then he would have been like, "What the fuck? What is this?"
Yeah.
Honestly,
I think that would have drew in probably more viewers than any other season, probably off of that alone.
Yeah, or dude, I'll be honest with you, even if you want to play mind games, he should have brought in Charles Oliveira,
right?
And just could you imagine? Oh fuck, great! He brings in the guy that beat me. God damn it!
Right
now, I got to stare at both these heads all day.
For sure. And they'll be talking.
That's what I'm saying. I personally just wish Conor would have brought in just one person because he's got those connections. I just wish he would have brought in one vet to be like, "I got your ass," and it's somebody that's gonna just talk shit to you the whole time. I don't know. I just feel like it would have been live. You know what I mean? I just feel like there's so many people that could have been brought in. Yeah,
you never know. Maybe that's why he didn't bring
somebody. But Conor make a lot of enemies too, so
bringing somebody in later.
In.
We are season 1 or episode 1. Sorry,
I did see months ago. Apparently, I thought Stephen Wonderboy was supposed to come in, but maybe he brings him in later on in the season. I don't know.
That'd be exciting. I do like Wonderboy.
Yeah, me too. So I think so maybe somewhere at some point in time he brings him in to help them, but I don't know. Who knows? So, with that being said, who is your favorite vet and your favorite prospect?
I didn't have a favorite vet. I did have a favorite prospect. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna look it up real quick because the name just slipped my mind.
No, you're good. All good.
But I did have a favorite prospect.
Once we're done, because I'm gonna give you your time to do it, but I'll give you my favorite vet now while you look it up, because there's a fuck ton of people here. And obviously, all new names and shit. But my favorite vet, and I've always loved this dude. And can't tell. I'm a big lover of this sport right here.
Bare knuckle fight. Yes, sir.
Yep. And he has arguably one of the best fights ever. BKFC against Artem Lobov, and that's Jason Knight. That man can take an ass whipping, and he wasn't bad in the UFC. And I think this is his time to come back, man. And if he can come back, he might come back with a vengeance. And even though he's, older,
right?
He can do it. But hold on one second, because Dijae is joining us now.
Hey guys.
Hey.
What's going on?
Just recapping. Well, we're just going over the Ultimate Fighter stuff.
The first episode.
Yep. Well, before you jump into it, so to everyone that's going to be watching this or listening, this is going to be our other co-host, Dijae, and this is who you're going to see on a weekly basis.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yep. So, Dijae, we were just talking, we were kind of just going over, if you want to just give us your thoughts on episode 1.
Episode 1 was crazy. That knockout. Okay, I'm skipping to the end, but that knockout, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting more of a fight. But he literally said what he was going to go in there and do. He literally was like, I'm going to go in there and knock him out. and he did it in like less than 30 seconds.
Quick.
Like quick as hell.
So if you take that fight away though, how do you view episode 1?
Episode 1 was, honestly, I thought there was gonna be more like banter between Camden and McGregor. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm taking it from just watching my Uncle Rashad and Rampage, just the fury between them. Just the fury between them. But I admire it. They were more focused on the fighters, which is cool. Maybe I'm just a little too excited for that fight between them at the end, but it was a good first episode. I guess I was just wanting a little more. That's all.
Hey, Jay, I wanted to back up.
I said it was. What's up?
I wanted to back up. I wanted her to touch in on the McGregor not being there at the weigh-ins. What are your thoughts
about him not being there at the weigh-ins?
Yeah, what did you think about that?
His team.
I mean, like, I was watching the after talk too, and like I feel like that's classic McGregor. I feel like I maybe I didn't touch on it because like that's expected for me. Like he's got like the most arrogant attitude of like anybody I've ever even experienced in the UFC, and like if he doesn't want to do something, he's not going to do it. I wish he was there, but that's not. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll speak on it after once we get down to the actual fight talk of that night. But after that, we are going to favorite vet and favorite prospect.
My favorite vet. Damn. I think my favorite vet might be Kurt, just because of like how he came in. Just like how he came in, he's like, I did the research on everybody. Like, I could knock all these dudes out. Like, he's got the confidence that I know I might be contradicting myself with the arrogance, like with Conor McGregor, but like, I like someone that knows that he's coming in and do what he wants. Just like dude that just knocked him out. Like, I feel like my favorite is Kurt right now. I'm excited to see that fight.
I did enjoy that kind of attitude coming in. He was like, I already sized everybody up. I'm knocking everybody up. That was entertaining for sure. I do like
confidence is one of the biggest things.
Right.
When you're a fighter, confidence is like one of the key pieces to being a good fighter. You need confidence, because if you lack it, we've seen it. We've seen fighters go in there with a lack of confidence and just get fucking smoked.
Although you've also seen fighters going overconfident, and you see what happens. You know, it's kind of, you got to have that.
Well, yeah, but you have to have that right confidence. Yeah, you can't go in there unless you're McGregor, you can't go in there overly confident and then just
even then we've seen when he's gone in overly confident, and look what happened. You know,
like after Roberts knocked out Nasty Nate or whatever he wants to call himself, like. He did the same move that McGregor does, where he jumps on the cage and he sits there and hangs out. I'm like, dude, all right. You got your first knockout. Like, sit down. Sometimes I wish that fighters who know they're good and they just won, like, what would it take for you to just be a little humble in that moment? Like, that would probably be more powerful than whatever you think you're about to do climbing on the ring.
Especially when you're on your second chance.
Yeah, like, just be a little humble. It's not like you're
some long-time fighter. Like, you lost 2 fights. You know, you didn't get another contract, but then you come back kind of that, like that. Like, you should be humbled for sure. And you're just getting another chance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be humble.
So, Cody, you said you didn't have a favorite vet?
No, I didn't. Other than what she had said, I did enjoy that, because I feel like that's going to cause great episodes later with the attitude that he goes with. Right now, with everybody,
when they start drinking this shit,
right? But I will say,
Cody, who's your favorite prospect?
Yeah, so for absolutely no reason other than just kind of seeing him on the episode, I just kind of was like, I feel like that guy's going to be an exciting fighter, and that's Mondo Gutierrez. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Something about those little guys, man. They're exciting to watch, man.
Yeah.
They're fun, and I don't know why, but that guy clicked with me since I've seen it on the episode. I was like, I think that's gonna be my guy for the season.
I feel that. I knew
Jay,
you
what
were
about
gonna
you?
And
be
personally, like, I'm kind of rooting for more of the prospects than the vets as it is, just because I like to see newer people get the opportunity. Because
I
as
agree.
a vet, like, you had the opportunity and you didn't seize it, for whatever
Yeah.
the reasons are, So I
Yep.
like seeing new people get opportunities. But if a vet
Honestly,
wins,
I
I
would.
ain't mad at it either. I like to see everybody win.
Yeah.
But
Honestly, I would have to say Nate. Like, mainly because, like, I feel like I was so upset about that fight because I wasn't expecting that. I thought Nate was about to come in crazy. Like, I thought he was about to do something. Like,
yeah,
because,
I
like,
definitely expected more.
right. Like, I'm not mad at it. Cool, knockout. But, like, I don't know. I wanted to see something from both of them. I mean, I saw something from one of them, but, like, Nate is my favorite. I want a rematch for my guy. Like, I feel bad. That was like a 10-second
Give at least
fight.
a whole minute in there.
Yeah.
yeah. Eight. Well, it didn't even announce when the fight. Like when they ended the fight and they, gave him the win. They didn't even
He's
say
like,
the
he was like,
time.
I was
But,
out. I was
commercial
out.
between-
What? I wasn't out.
Yeah.
Had his arms not gone stiff, I would have argued that with him that he wasn't out, because I was so back and forth for a moment. I was like, man, but he
Nah,
wasn't.
when
But
they showed the
the more they
slow-mo,
kept showing it, and his arms got stiff, I was like, no,
you saw
you're
him
out.
go down though. When you saw him go down, maybe he got woken back up when he hit the ground, but
Right.
he was out.
Yeah, some people recover quickly. So like he was out because his arms just did one of these and he just
Right.
hit the ground and he couldn't cover himself. So you're done.
Yeah.
But and I get it. Some people snap back into it so fast they don't even know what originally happened. Because some people get hit,
I've heard
blacked
fighters
out,
talk
and
about
they're
that all
still
the time.
standing. And then like there's when Eddie Alvarez got front kicked. I think it was Eddie Alvarez, if my mind's, going the right way. He got front kicked. He said he made it home, and then he said to his wife or girlfriend or whatever, like, oh, shit, I'm going to miss my fight. And she was like, yo, you got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, you already had your fight.
Like,
bud.
he was out for hours. Like, but there's people that get hit, and they black out, and they're still standing and fighting, and, like, they don't even realize it. And then there's people like Nate who go stiff and then wake back up so fast. They don't even remember the ref. Like, they don't even know the ref called the fight off already. And they're like, I'm not out. I've been here. Like, nah, dude, you were done.
Yeah.
I
But
had like little personal.
I will say
for
for
myself
me,
around that. I had to watch the replay a few times because I was like, like he snapped back so fast. You could almost argue it was the stiff arms that really sold that. Like, you're out.
Yeah. I mean, those refs, right? Well, some of them. We've seen some questionable shit down with not fucking knowing like it's done or not. But, those guys are, some of the top refs are very well trained, and they know that when a guy's hitting up, that's the fight,
Yeah.
The two hammer fists
also,
probably weren't necessary, but gotta do it until the ref jumps in. So,
yeah.
So
I'm also ready to see Brad Katona fight.
yeah.
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready for that fight. That's gonna be nuts. Cause I remember, I think I watched they were showing some highlights on his reel today, and I remember watching the fight that he was in, and that was crazy. Like he's nasty too.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm more familiar with faces than names, and I looked them up here. I did actually like him. He stood out to me as well. He seems like he's so quiet and laid back,
And he seems so little.
A silent killer. So little, yeah. He seems so little, yeah.
He does seem little. He is little.
I will be excited to see him fight and see what he does.
Yeah. So for me, my favorite prospect is the same thing. It's Mondo Gutierrez. The guy just I don't know. Bantamweight wise, like he's got it. He could easily just go through and spark everybody.
For sure.
Nate was on my list until I seen him cry about him missing his family, and he was only one day in, not even. I get it.
Yeah, that was a bit much.
I get it 100% because trust me, I think I would miss my family too right off the rip, like knowing that I'm here for X amount of weeks and I don't know when I'm gonna be able to FaceTime them or whatever.
I mean, I'm sure.
But honestly, they're all probably crying over them, like crying over their families like that, and they only showed him doing it first episode.
Yeah, and I think that had a lot to do with him losing that fight too. My favorite vet, I said earlier, before you got in, is Jason Knight, because I'm a huge fan of the BKFC, and he put on one of the best fights in BKFC history against Labov, and that dude's got a fucking chin. That man can stand and bang. He can throw you to the ground. He can do all it. I don't know. He's got a lot of experience all over the place with BKFC, with the UFC, and I don't know. I don't know if any lightweight will beat him, and I feel bad for any prospect that has to go in there and thinks they're gonna knock that man out, because you're gonna have to hit them up with some sort of power.
Yeah. I agree.
And I like his cockiness too. I like that he's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you're gonna have to leave the fucking kitchen sink to put me down on that canvas. And I don't know if anyone will out wrestle him either. I mean, his wrestling's not the best. His jiu-jitsu, none of that stuff is top tier, but it's enough to usually get him through a fight. So that's those are my two people.
I'm anticipating the fights for next week.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a good lineup all around, and I like how they did the meeting.
Do we know who's fighting?
I'm honest with you, they might have said it at the end, but I really don't remember.
Right, I don't remember either, but I know I just want to see that Kurt and Lee, I think his last name's Hammond, fight. I just want to see what Kurt's gonna do. He was talking too much shit.
Unless they put, they might, because the first lightweight, so the next fight might be bantamweight. I can't imagine they go 2 lightweight fights in a row.
Nah, you're right.
However, it is a possibility we see. I mean, if it's going 12 weeks, I don't see us getting a 2-fight episode, unless it's like one of the last episodes.
Yeah.
But who do you guys think wins it all? Like lightweight and bantamweight?
Honestly, I don't even want to say it because I feel like it's corny to say it just because, man, I don't know. I might have to put my money on Roosevelt. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, did you see when he went up to Dana and was like, "You guys heard y'all saw I was off last time. I'm back." Like, he's not playing. Yeah. I don't know. I might have my money on Roosevelt. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. You're going with what about?
Huh?
Who do you got for bantamweight?
Mondo.
Yeah, Mondo, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know, man. I like, it's not even that he necessarily did anything that excited me. It's just like the little bit of energy you got off that episode from him. He just seems like he's going to be excited.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know if any prospects are winning it this year. I'm going Jason Knight, all the way. I'm going Brad Katona. Yeah.
Yep.
It's gonna be for me. So like, I'm between Brad and I'm between him and Timur. Like,
yeah.
I mean, those guys are just, to me, I think, are the two best in the bantamweight. But then again, I mean, these guys are prospects, right? Unless you follow them, you don't really know much about them. So they could be nasty. Right. But me, I mean, sometimes that experience. I mean, when you're going against the best in the world, as far as UFC wise, those guys
like,
have been
especially
there,
for me, just without knowing too much about all the fighters, but I know I'm probably gonna have to keep a lookout for Trevor Wells. I've been watching some of his stuff. Same with Rico. So it's like the ones that I don't know too much about, I feel like those are the ones that might sneak up on me. I still have to do some more research, but
I definitely got to do it. Definitely got to research for sure. Yeah. I am excited for this
I think
season,
the prospect class is good. Yeah, the prospect class is quite dangerous. But like I said, I don't know vets either.
I think some of them are going to get some contracts out of this.
You just can't count they have in there, but that's one thing I love about Ultimate Fighter. I mean, how many guys have we seen from last season's Ultimate Fighter already fight in the UFC a couple times? Like, when you come out as the winner, you're going to get the fights than if you didn't win. But if you show that you can fight and you stand a good chance, there's a good possibility then it's like, dude, I like what you did. We're still going to give you a contract, but it's not going to be what that guy's getting.
Right. Which it shouldn't be, because I mean, the ultimate goal for that is for the winner to get a better contract than what most people would get. So
yeah, and that's exactly what happens too. Is those guys are going to get the better contract, they're going to get more money. But I mean, he could get a little bit less money. Not much, but it all depends, because he likes to see what people got. So he might sign him to a 1-2 fight contract and then say, hey, if you win both fights, you get X amount of money. If you win one fight, you get X amount of money. If you win no fight, you're just gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these guys still got to go out there and put their best foot forwards. I mean, I know they are, because they're trying to fight, they're trying to make their way to it. But at the same time, it's like, even if you're losing, you got to go out there and show some sort of resilience and chin and cardio to go the distance. Yeah. So with that, we'll go to the fight. So
short-lived.
Honestly, I don't even know how to pronounce dude's last name.
Who, Jennerman?
Oh, the fight. No, yeah. I thought you were talking about fight night. Thought we were getting fight night already.
No. So we'll talk about we'll go a little more in depth on the thoughts, I guess, of the. You can't really go in depth with 8 seconds.
You can't.
We'll kind of give. We'll just kind of give our thoughts on it. So, do you think? One of my things from it was, do you think with the different styles, like obviously Chandler came out and had a light session with his guys, and then McGregor had his guys in a hard sparring session right off the rip. Do you think that had anything to do with the outcome of what happened? Do you think maybe, because it's always a big controversy, right? When guys go into fights, like Max Holloway, I'll use as an example, because he's probably one of the most loved people in the UFC, is like, he used to hard spar all the fucking time. And then he would come out, he would get knocked out in sparring sessions and shit. And it's like, well, not knocked out, but he'd get knocked down in sparring sessions. And it's like, does that kind of play an effect on your chin? Like what, your mental stability? I mean, it's how much hard sparring session was within the week of their first fight.
I think it was
because I think all those guys come in at weight.
I think it was interesting to see the trust that Chandler had in Roberts, like, and honestly in the rest of the team too. Like you could see their practice, like they were, it was light, like you said. Like he honestly was just telling them to save it for the fight. Roberts literally said what he was gonna do. He was like, I'm gonna walk in there 1-2 and he's gonna be down, and that's exactly what happened. And it's crazy to me the fact that their whole workout was like chill as hell.
Well, when they were preparing for that fight, they were preparing for that fight, if you watch, he's just throwing that combination, and he hit him with that stiff jab, and you've seen him kind of like tap his head back, and then you could see in Jennerman's face, like not that his expression changed, but you could see his eyes like, oh fuck, and then he just got hit with that 2-piece, and that was it. That hook to the fucking
talk about
side
muscle
of the head
memory.
was
Literally, he's just doing the same thing.
I thought Nate left himself open a lot. He was real open, like he wasn't real tight. Like that's why that dude came in, boom, 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 and then that was it. 2-piece after that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you get caught with you get caught hard enough in the side of the head, I mean, you're going down. Does it mean you're stiffened up? No, but it means you're getting dropped. And unfortunately for Jennerman, he stiffened up, and that was it. 9 seconds. I think it may be the fastest knockout in tough history.
That's what Dana was saying.
That's exactly that's what Dana said.
Yeah, he's not even sure. I don't even know. I'm trying to think back. I've watched every season. I don't know if I've seen one in under 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's wild. And he said it too.
I mean, I can't. I'll be honest. I don't remember all 30 seasons. Yeah, I don't remember all 30 seasons. There's just fucking thousands of fights that I don't remember. So
yeah,
I do. I still rewatch them to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's all good content
all the time. Like,
who doesn't watch somebody get
listen, like Rashad Rampage. Yeah, Rashad Rampage is probably one of my favorites. I'll always love that Rashad got Rampage. It's just because
it was so real.
Like
it was so real.
Yeah,
like they literally could not stand
the hate level between the two of them. Yeah, and it's like watching Rampage rip that door in half is like one of the most memorable things in the world. You know,
I'll never forget that. That's definitely one of the most memorable things ever because it's like.
Yeah,
when you think about it, like doors aren't very like when you look at that door, it's not that much. But I mean, that dude ripped that door apart like it was nothing.
Man,
puts his foot right through it and then just rips it in half, and I'm like, God damn. You know, like you said, the door wasn't much, but still, it's like he just ripped that shit down like it wasn't even like.
I mean, like it was made of big boys, and we're not ripping doors apart like that. No way. No way.
Not especially to grab it by the top and just completely rip down and just pull the door in half is just like you know. So it's like there are memorable things, but it's hard to remember. Like I said, with all the fights that have happened, it's hard to remember if any of them been under 10 seconds. But I mean, like I said, you just can't really go in depth. I think Roosevelt looked good. You know, his punches look stiff, his hooks look clean, everything, his movement. He knew how to use his distance. If he can keep that, because I think he's one of the taller guys, if not the tallest. So I think if he learns how to use that, he could be dangerous for sure.
I did enjoy it.
As far as Jennerman goes,
I look forward to watching him fight some more.
Me too.
I do hope that at the end of this, Jennerman does get like a 1-fight contract to the UFC, and you know, hopefully he gets like, because Dana might say, hey, you know what, take what you can from this, and we may give you something at the end. And plus, there's always the possibility too that someone gets hurt, right? You don't want to see it, but there's a good possibility somebody does, and Jennerman gets to step back in.
So I mean, look at this fight card coming up. You had multiple people drop out, and now you got a couple of like they don't even have pictures of them on the main card lineup when you Google it or anything because they haven't been there.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't at one of the cutscenes, like things that happened in like later episodes or whatever, didn't they show a part where someone on Chandler's team talking to a doctor or something? Am I just imagining this? It's a possibility. My brain's fucking.
I don't remember right offhand because the one thing that I remember from like that is when they were showing that I did see a clip of Mondo taking a nasty knee to the chin, and I was like, that can't happen. I'm going for you, my guy. Like, and because I was already going for him before I seen that scene, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean episode 2 is going to be lit. I think episode 2 is going to be way better than episode 1. And like I said, I think we get our first bantamweight fight, so I'm hoping for that. I will say this, like before we go on to the fight night, I will say this. I think what I love about Chandler's like way to set his lineup was he's like, number 1 is not our best fighter. Number 4 could be our best fighter. And I think McGregor went with who's his best fighter from top to bottom. And Chandler's putting guys all over the place. So like McGregor's kind of like putting his best up against who he thinks Chandler's worst might be. But in reality, that 4 guy might be Chandler's best guy, and he goes and takes out McGregor's number 1.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
I do like that. I do like that Chandler did that because I think that's very smart. No one said you have to put your best fighter first. You know,
Mhm.
no, that's
Right.
not in the rule book. You know, just rank them how you want. If you think you're a fighter, you can put them wherever you want. Nobody said, hey, you have to put your best fighter at number 1. So
Right.
I like Chandler's little mix.
Do you think you get a better feel for ranking your guys with a lighter session than Connor's more aggressive session, or do you think you get a better feel for your guys if Chandler would have went aggressive like Connor did?
I feel like it
I think you
depends on
get a better feel on a lighter day. Go ahead, Dijae. What were you saying?
I think it depends on the fighter. I think that Chandler did that because he knew who he was working with for the first up fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think it depends on the fighter. It depends on what kind of energy each fighter brings. If you're working with a more like quick and lightning fighter like Roberts, maybe a more chill session is more beneficial so that they can save their lightning and fire for the fight. And maybe someone who is slower and like they need that
Push to
extra
get it more.
push in the on the mat and for practice
Yeah.
with McGregor, because like they need that to get that muscle memory that Roberts had. They need that shit, but they need it for real to be ready for the fight. So I definitely think it depends on the fighter.
Yeah. See, I always think the lighter sparring sessions are better because, you know, well, not even sparring, but training in general. Because for me, when you're sitting there thinking of, you know, when you're sitting there looking at these guys, if guys are going fast, sometimes you miss things because you have to look at their hands. You have to see if they're off, and you don't have time to look at their footwork. When guys are slowly throwing punches, you can kind of look at the whole person and say,
Get a feel
okay,
for their
if
stance.
you open up your stance a little bit more, you can get a better reach, or you can get more power out of, you know, coming forward and moving this foot here and tightening up your stance and stuff like that. And I think for me, the lighter sessions, you get a better feel simply because you get to see your guys kind of in slower action, and you get to see how well their footwork is and how well their hands work and their head movement, and stuff like that. You kind of get to see how they block punches or how they kind of bob and weave and where their feet end up. Whereas like when you're going full speed, you have to pay attention to one or the other. Like where's their head going, where's their foot going at the same time. And I think the slow stuff you get to see more, but obviously with that goes saying like with a high pace, more intense spar like Connor did, you get to see these guys react quick. You get to see their true reaction skills. You get to see how they react when they're really, you know, in the fire. So, I mean, it has its ups and downs, but I would say, I think for me personally, I would rather do a light session than a faster one.
Agreed.
From a coaching standpoint. But with that being said, we'll start from the bottom. We'll switch over here to UFC Fight Night, which is coming up on Saturday, June 3rd, tomorrow. It's at the Apex, so I'm imagining UFC Fight Night starts at, I think it starts at 6. I could be wrong. Yeah, it starts at 6 because it's at the Apex, so that's what I kind of figured.
6 at the Apex.
So we'll start from the bottom of it before we get to the main fight, because I feel like, you know, we'll talk more about that. So we'll go with Tim Elliott versus Victor Altamirano. Tim Elliott's been in the game for a minute. I think Victor fights in the UFC. They both won their last fight by decision. So if anything, I mean, they both obviously have the cardio to go 3 rounds, but when I watch Victor's fight, he looked a little winded, where like Tim Elliott can put the gas on in the later round. So if Victor's not really working on his cardio much, he might be in a little bit of trouble coming later rounds.
I think
What
Elliot's
do you
got
think
it.
the difference is going to make with the reach advantage? There is a pretty decent. I mean, 4 inches. I mean, that's pretty significant for fighting.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is I mean, when you look at it, Tim Elliott he's one of those guys that'll jump at you. He doesn't give a fuck. He don't care. So
Right,
he's gonna work the inside on you, and he really. I think Tim Elliott's experience is gonna be a big factor here. Because he's fought guys bigger than him before, so he's gonna have to. He'll know how to work the inside, how to get to it, and Victor's just gonna have to learn how to keep him back and not let him explode into punches. Personally, so
because other than
we'll
that,
have to
I
see.
mean, they
Because
seem pretty evenly matched. They're Tim's 5'6", Victor's 5'7". Just the reach is the only thing I've seen that's going to be different there, and I mean that could make a difference. But if you don't know how to use your reach, then.
And I feel like Altamirano is a lot leaner, and Elliot's got like the. I feel like Elliot's got more meat on him. He's gonna do more damage. That's just my take.
Elliot's like short and stocky, very powerful. Where Victor's, I mean, I say short and stocky, it's only a 1 inch difference, but Victor seems like a little bit taller, a little leaner, where Tim's like short and stocky. So I definitely think Tim possesses more power than Victor. But Victor can land punches and kind of get around you a little bit with that reach.
Definitely.
So, I mean, I don't know. If Vic really sit back and kind of not let Tim explode into him, if really use that reach advantage, Victor could win this fight. That goes to say you got to stop Tim Elliott first.
So you think it's a pretty even matchup then? Could go either way.
I think it's a good fight. It could, but I'm leaning Tim Elliott.
I mean, Tim's definitely got more fights than Victor, but I mean, could go either way.
Definitely could go either way.
I mean, it's a fight, right? It could always go either way.
Yeah. Somebody's going to have a good night.
But, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, and it could just be, my biased opinion, because I do like Tim Elliott, but I got the advantage here, even though he's got, reach against him. I just think he's too explosive for most people.
We got in the lightweight.
You guys
got
anything else to say on that or no?
What do you guys think about?
You guys...
Wait, we were talking about the Elliott and Altamirano, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the Butler Miller?
Oh, yeah. Gordon being forced out, I think is kind of crazy. But for Jesse Butler I'm pretty sure he's making his UFC debut, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that's what I heard as well. And I'm kind of rooting for him.
I'm interested to see that.
Yeah, I mean, on a day and a half notice, if that, I mean,
that's crazy.
Crazy as hell.
Hey, props to you. I mean, Dana White sees that shit too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dana White looks at that. So if Jesse even goes out and loses this fight, right, you look at it like, okay, maybe he was in shape, but still you don't have a game plan for somebody. And Jim Miller is so experienced. It's like you got a guy making his debut and you got a guy that's been here goddamn 40 years. Like, I mean, the dude's been here since forever. So, and I think, is Jim Miller going on his 40th fight?
I believe so. He's 35-17. You think his age will play a factor?
Or his fifth? Yeah, he's or his 60th fight or some shit like that. Like, he's getting up there.
Got 8 years on the guy. Almost a decade.
Yeah. He's
but I mean,
39. I mean, at 39, I think he's still got
not a lot of time to prepare for somebody that's got that much experience.
Right.
And Jim's on a 3-fight win streak.
That's fair.
So it's not like you're coming in on a guy who's on a losing streak. You're coming in against a guy who's a 3-fight win streak.
Then again, I mean, Jim Miller, he hasn't been preparing for this opponent, for Jesse coming.
So that's a good point to bring up. So when you say that, right? They both have to change game plans. Jim Miller no longer has a game plan because obviously his game plan for Jared Gordon is a lot different than Jesse Butler.
Right.
But that's where experience comes into play. Jim Miller can think on the fly. Not that Jesse Butler can't,
That's fair.
but
Right.
I mean, obviously there's a lot more tape for Jesse to see on Jim than there is for Jim to see on Jesse.
Right.
But this fight comes down to just a straight scrap. This fight's going to come down to who is the better fighter, because Jim Miller is going to come out thinking on the fly, and if he has to, he'll take him down. And Jesse doesn't really know what he can do on the ground, and Jim doesn't know what Jesse can do on the ground. So, and they don't know what they can do standing up. They don't know each other's power. At the end of the day, they're going to go into this fight. This fight's going to be, I think, it'll be an all-out brawl. I don't even know if they'll want to go to the ground. They might say, "Yo, fuck it. Hey, neither of us have a game plan. Let's punch each other in the face."
No matter what way it goes,
see who's
this
a
will be
better
a learning
striker.
experience for Butler. That's for sure.
100%.
Yeah, and that's why I think, like, even if he loses this fight, it's not anything anyone can take away from him, because,
Exactly.
like I said, Dana White's going to look at it and be like, I'm not going to take the guy, I'm not going to put a tick on his list for losing this fight because he stepped in and took it on such a short notice, if not one of the shortest notices.
And you never know,
and then
this
if
might be
he
the
wins,
biggest
if
blessing
Butler
for
wins,
him.
it's like, damn, Miller.
For sure.
Yeah.
This could
I
set
think there's a
Butler
lot
off
more on the
the
line for
next
Jim
year
Miller
or
than
two fight.
Butler. Yeah,
I would say so,
I think
especially
this
with him
fight here,
creeping up on his age. I mean, you're kind of almost aged out as far as UFC if you're not winning.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but that's the thing too, is just like Jim Miller's got a lot more on the line, I think, than Jesse does, just because of how short notice this fight was for Jesse.
Jesse could kind of fall back on, like, he had heart and he showed up. A lot of people wouldn't do that.
That's exactly. So I don't know. I was really looking forward to him versus Jared Gordon. I think that was going to be an absolute banger. But I think this still has. I think Jim Miller versus Jesse Butler still has fight of the night written all over it.
Very good potential. Very good potential.
Yeah, I will say I wish that was the co-main event. Stepping up into the co-main event with Alex Caceres versus Daniel Pineda. I don't know, man. I like Alex Caceres. I think he's going to win the fight.
I'm more familiar with him than Daniel, for sure.
Well, Pineda hasn't fought since 2021. And it was a no contest. And then he lost to Cub in 2020 by knockout. So, I mean, I'm not going to hold that against him, right? Because it's whatever. People change after out or no contest or anything like that. Alex Caceres won his last fight against Julian Erosa, which I think is a big feat because Erosa's got a good chin. He's fast. He's strong. So
yeah,
I don't know. Like I said, I like Caceres. I just don't know. Yeah, Caceres is tall as shit.
He's got 4.5-inch reach advantage on that, and that can, like I said, that can definitely make a difference in a fight.
Caceres knows how to use his range too. So
I've seen him fight a couple times, but they weren't too memorable to even recall right off the.
Same here. They weren't memorable.
He's not like a crazy exciting fighter, that's for sure. But he definitely he's definitely dangerous on his feet. But I don't know. I just think the other two fights before him, I think, should hold precedence over him. But
I could agree with that.
I don't know. They just kind of do what they want to do. It's a good fight.
I'm going to be honest. To me, this card almost feels thrown together, really.
Yeah, usually they kind of get some stuff going that makes sense, but like this card just kind of feels like they were just like, yeah, this guy wants to fight, this guy wants to fight. We'll just throw them all on a fucking card.
Yeah, like all these guys want to fight, but we don't know where to stick them. So hey, let's make fight night. Throw them on the card.
Yeah, that's kind of it too. Is like, hey, we got all these cards coming up with bangers. Because I don't want to say these guys are prelim guys because they're really not. So it's hard to go and say, oh, we'll stick them on UFC 290 on the prelims. Like,
Right.
that's kind of just like, man, not worth it. Yeah. Right. And at the same time, it's like all these cards that are coming up are just way too stacked to throw these guys on.
That is a fact.
So
these cards coming
it does feel like
crazy.
Yeah, it definitely did feel like they were trying to just come up with a card and we're just like, all right, these guys want to fight, these guys want to fight. Let's just make a fucking card where guys are just going to stand and bang. Because that's what this looks like to me. This looks like a stand and bang card.
Mm-hmm.
Which I enjoy that, honestly, a lot.
That's the only sense I can make.
There's nothing like a good just brawl, you know?
Yeah. But, you know, I don't really have much to say about that fight. I personally think Caceres is just going to dominate this fight. And it's either going to be a unanimous decision or he's knocking Pineda out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be unanimous. I definitely think it's going to be unanimous. I don't think there's going to be anything exciting about this fight. I don't have much to say about it either.
Yeah, I don't know. Because if Caceres pieces early in the first round, it's a good chance that he ends him in the second. But we'll see. You know, I don't know. It's hard to judge a guy that's been out for, you know, hasn't had a fight in a year and a half. So
yeah, that's always rough to be able to judge somebody.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? They could put up a fight. They could somehow come out and put up a fight. It's not impossible. But,
every fight's possible for fight of the night, to be honest. It depends on who wants to go out and bang it out. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But however, with that being said, this main fight, I'm excited for.
I am too.
Because I am a diehard Kai Kara France fan. It sucks that he's one of my favorite fighters. Yeah, I besides him, I love Brandon Moreno, and watching them two guys fight was like it was a lot of fun watching it fight, even though it ended in a round 3 knockout for Kai. But Moreno's built different, so that guy's just a little beat. But Kai is nuts. But him versus Albazi Amir Albazi is dude's good.
I think it's gonna be a knockout. Kai's a striker, like, and he's quick. Yeah. He's crazy. I think it's honestly gonna be like that tough 31 end of the like. It's gonna be a quick one to me. That's just in my head.
Go out swinging, knockout.
I mean, I'm not diehard like you, Jason, but Kai is gonna do some crazy. Yeah, Kai's nuts.
He's got some good moves in his arsenal to keep you guessing on like what's coming next.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, and Albazi is coming with the jiu-jitsu, but that's like if you can get Kai down.
That's exactly it, right? Because Kai will knee you in your face if you go for his legs. He will take your fucking head right off your shoulders with a knee. But I mean, I think Kai wins this fight. However, Amir's no slouch because he's 16-1. So
it could go either way for sure, but I do definitely have Kai pulling it off with a knockout. I see it being a knockout. Yeah. I think this whole card is going to just be knockouts everywhere, to be honest with you.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I do too. I think we're going to see a lot of knockouts on this fight card. Well, for me, the reason why I'm going to go Kai here, and besides being a fan, is I just personally think he's fought better competition.
Better than Albazi?
You know. Yeah, I mean,
like he's fought harder, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because you go back to 2021, he beat Cody Garbrandt, which is a big name. Then he goes and he beats Rogerian Von Thorn, and then he comes out, beats Askar Askarov, gives him his first loss, and then he comes out and then he fights Brandon Moreno and loses. But Brandon Moreno is a champ, so, and I think he's the best in that division. I don't know if anyone will beat him. I even question if Figueroa will beat him really 3 times, but whatever. in that little fight that they had there. I don't even figure it'll beat him at all. And then, I mean, so I think he's fought better competition as far as like the top, where like I don't know, Amir's fight against Royval was canceled.
Amir only has one loss, though. I mean, that's kind of big for him. I mean, the second loss he's got something to fight for to keep that record going. I mean, that's a nice record.
Well, yeah.
16-1.
No, yeah.
You know?
I mean, he's undefeated in the UFC. I'm pretty sure he just has one loss in his professional career elsewhere. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
But like, you know, beats Malcolm Gordon by submission, which I mean is whatever. But he hardly beats Zumagulov in a decision. Has another submission win against Francisco Figueiredo. Knocks out Alessandro Costa, which is, I mean, whatever. But now he's going into Kai. Like, Kai just fought way more talented people than I think Amir has. So if Amir pulls this off, he's on his way to the top. Like, I think if Amir wins this fight, he might be seeing Moreno next.
Yeah.
And
I think
that's the fight here is for. Like, I think if Kai wins, he goes and fights Moreno again. But if Amir wins, he goes and fights Moreno. Like,
so you think winner of this fight fights Moreno?
I don't know.
Either way.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. I think the Kai fight versus Moreno would be a little more entertaining than Amir, to be honest with you. I think he's just a bit more
but
exciting
we've already
fighter.
seen what happened. Well, yeah, but we already seen Moreno knock Kai out.
Yeah, but you get a second time around. I mean, you have a different game plan. I mean,
like
round two could always go the other way.
But at the same time, not every time. Yeah, but not every time fighters fight a champion and lose, they deserve an automatic rematch. They kind of do need another warm-up fight, and I think Amir
that's true.
Is definitely is another good fight to kind of jump back in it. And like I said, the guy's undefeated in the UFC, so he rightfully so. And I think as of last year, I think he became I think Amir's the number 7 now. So, I mean, Moreno's gone through all these guys. So I think Amir might be now if he beats Kai, and it's not impossible for him to do it. But Kai's definitely not no slouch. So, personally, I'm going Kai on this. But if Amir gets into the ground, Kai might be in trouble.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I mean, those Iraqi fighters are nuts.
But that's if he gets Kai down. I don't think he's gonna get Kai down, honestly. Let's hope I'm into existence and I can help your boy win. But I don't know. I feel like he's gonna come in ready, just striking like he is.
Yeah, I think Amir might get caught up in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a good chance that happens. Kai's been in the moment, so he's stayed calm, cool, and collected. He's not. It's not like this fight here for him is like, you know, do or die. Right. It might set him back if he loses a little bit, but it's not going to set him back much. He's like 2 or 3, like a 2-3 fight win streak out from going right back into title talks. But you know, Al-Bazi's kind of right there. So if he wins this fight, he's next. But if he loses, he might need to go on like a 1 or 2. You know, he might have to win 1 fight or 2 fights. But I don't know. It really all just comes down to where this fight lands. If it lands on the ground, Amir might be favored. But if Kai keeps him up, Kai might take his head off.
Well, no, I'm ready.
We'll find out tomorrow night.
I'm ready for this fight tomorrow. Yeah,
I am excited to watch this fight card tomorrow.
I already got my chicken wing dip ready.
Hey, let's go.
Yep.
Let's go. I don't know what I'm cooking yet, but I'm sure I'll whip up some.
We're gonna have to have a fight party one of these nights. So when something big comes.
For sure.
Yeah, we will. We'll plan one of them. I'll see if maybe I'll try and figure it out. See if we can get on. If I can live stream, but like we'll do like an open one on Twitch We just won't be
Yeah.
able to show the fight, but we'll have it
Right.
up, and then we'll be there. And then if people want to watch us or whatever, we'll
That'd be sweet.
be
Hell
able
yeah.
just to answer questions or like give our thoughts on the fight and stuff, and then
Like
we
a
can
live
go
feed.
from there.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah,
That'd be dope
like
as hell.
we'll all sit here. We'll all have the fights on our own TVs or whatever, and then we'll
And
just
I will promise our viewers that sometime soon we will do a all three of us in person pod. For sure.
Oh,
We gotta
yeah.
get that
So-
going.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely figure something out. Like I said, I mean, you live goddamn forever away in the middle of the boondocks.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll figure some stuff out, and
It's gonna be great, man.
we'll
I'm
definitely,
looking forward to it.
yeah, we'll look up into cards and stuff and see, maybe in July or something we'll do it. Maybe we'll do it for like 290 or 290. Well, maybe we'll do it for like 290 or 291,
It'd be sweet.
and then from there we'll just yeah,
Sounds
yeah,
good.
fights ain't cheap.
Hey,
But
we'll make it happen.
yeah, so from there we'll
Well, it was good to meet you, Cody. You look just
Hey, it's
like your
great to meet
brother.
you,
You guys
too.
look literally
know.
exactly alike.
Hey, our kids look alike too, man. It's scary. It's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
No, man, but I'm excited for this
I
pod,
think-
man. Look forward to it.
yeah, I think so. I think that's kind of it for this episode. Next week we'll figure some stuff out, and as usual,
some more.
if you want us to talk about anything, you can find one of us on Facebook, or just we have the 16 Ounce Podcast page. You can just message that or post up there. We'll we're always down to take topics from the
Yeah.
public. So
Definitely drop some comments.
yeah,
Let us know.
All that.
Give us some feedback. Give us some topics. We'll take it all.
yeah.
Yep. We want to hear it all.
Yeah. So with that, I think that's it. And
Yeah.
I'm Jay,
Tomorrow's gonna be a good.
I'm
I'm
Dijae.
Cody.
and then there's Cody's big ass head. So
And it's Cody.
we'll see you next week.
I will see y'all next week.
Bye, guys.